Hello, beautiful people. It's me, Dr. Missy, here with your weekly energy update for the week of February 1st. We've got a new month, we have a full moon today, and we have some beautiful messages to share about the energy that's coming in the week ahead. And again, if you're not really dialed into how the new moon and the full moon work, the full moon phase, so from the date of the full moon for the 2 weeks that follow, that is our call to surrender. That is our call for taking a step back, receiving, releasing, stepping into divine acceptance, all of these things that allow us to then get kind of recentered and then gear up for the new moon phase, which is that, divine masculine, the doing, the creating, the bringing things to life, the manifesting, all that stuff. We need to have both, right? It's all about the balance. And so the cards that I chose to pull from these particular decks this week gave us some amazing messages. Let's jump right in. The first, I wanted to go into a Moonology deck. So I chose one by Yasmin Boland. Love her stuff. Since today is the full moon. And by no surprise, we got a fabulous message that came out here. The waning moon, which is actually the crescent that begins to show as the full moon starts to go back toward the new moon phase. So it's really this whole cycle from full to new moon is this waning phase. Okay, so this 2 week period where again we're called into releasing. And what's the question? What do you need to release? It is the tale as old as time. It is the full moon phase. What is calling to be released? What needs to be surrendered? What do you just need to soften to allow, to sort of say, it's this way right now, and I can be okay with that, right? So this is the call this week. As you have been working on these beautiful new things at the start of the year, maybe some resolutions, again, maybe this really great vision and plan for all the things that you want to change or, do differently, bring into your life, leave from your life, all this stuff. This is a call to spend some time in reflection. What do you need to release? And this could be as simple as what are some of the things you need to clean up with your finances. Maybe there's some little money leaks here or there. Maybe it's actually a call to release items, clutter, things within your home. Maybe it's how you are spreading yourself thin or spending time that isn't really moving the needle forward. Like, where are these areas where you can surrender, where you can release, let go? And I love that this image is actually happening in the winter months. Like, again, February, and if you're in the States, it is our winter time, right? It's these slower months, these more dormant months in relation to nature, right? We are in this phase of this stillness, like things have died off. Now things are sort of like hibernating, right? Things are beginning to brew that will then blossom and turn into beautiful creations, right? So this release is a reminder, this is part of getting what we want, making small visions become these big, beautiful things that we bring to life. It's dropping off the little things, those little tiny weights, those little, energy leaks, and all these things that at the end of the day, when you add them all up, they could really be distracting us. They could really be pulling us away from what it is that we're trying to bring into our life. So, what do you need to release? And then the second card, which I pulled from the deck, The Power of Surrender, Dr. Judith Orloff. I love this deck for this time of the month with the full moon because it is all about what do we need to surrender, right? And so for this one, we got the card Surrender to Silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. And in relation to the image, if anyone knows what that is, it's actually Mont Saint-Michel in northern France, in Brittany, France. And it is a small island there off of the coast where it's like this spiral. My husband and I honeymooned in France, so we actually got to go here on our honeymoon. And you go to this little island and you walk up around the hill. It kind of goes in a spiral, and then you get to the top of this monastery where the monks live. And obviously pray and chant, and you can go in and listen to the monks chanting in French, the most amazing sacred sounds that you can imagine here. And so surrendering to silence in this way, especially in relation to our call to really reflect on what it is we need to release, is to go within. It's like, instead of just looking around at life and going, oh, gosh, I hate this part of my life, or is it time to leave my job? Like, how can I get out of here? Right? I mean, that's part of how we clean up what needs to be released, right? But this is saying, go inward with this. Actually go into meditation, to contemplation, to really feel into why something around you is calling to be released. So let's say, for example, you're like, I really don't like my job anymore, and I really think I need to leave. Okay. So how would we practice this in relation to reflecting on what's calling to be released? So it really going in and spending time saying, okay, what is it about the job that is not aligned with me? Usually what it comes down to is how it makes us feel, right? So the release, while it seems on the surface, the release would be, I'm going to release my job. Okay, I'm done with that. And that may be the end game. But the real release, when we go in and we reflect and we say, when this comes up in my energy, this is what doesn't feel good, okay? Is there may be great aspects of the job, but there's elements that feel like they're bringing the energy down. So maybe it's a call to release not feeling valued, or specifically feeling devalued. Maybe you're in a position where you're not only seen for the great things that you're bringing to the table, but maybe you're actually being given really critical feedback, or the guidance that you're getting is just not nurturing. It's not making you want to do better, right? Let's say. Maybe you're feeling called to release the obligation of being on someone else's watch, right? Being at a certain place at a certain time, because maybe that schedule doesn't match up with your natural rhythm. Maybe your job is one where you have to be there very early, and that's not in your nature. Like, you'd rather have more spacious mornings, and you'd rather start a job that can give you a little bit more freedom to what your body naturally wants to do, right? So when we go from the outside of like, what's not working here? What's crappy about life? To the inside of like, what actually am I not liking about this experience, right? And lean into that, we can really harvest, right? We can really excavate out of there the information that will allow us to then make the next right choice. Because instead of just going to another job that could end up being the same situation, or with the same demands or the same limitations, now we know what we're looking for, and we know what we're avoiding, right? We can make a more aligned, intuitive partnership in how we move forward when we do it from that angle. So this is a beautiful full moon invitation to dig in there and see what you really want, what you really don't want, kind of why, what's that bringing up in your energy field, and then make your moves from that perspective. Right? When we get into that new moon phase, and now it's the doing time, it's the decision-making time, we've reflected. Now we can do it from a place of much more clarity. And then the last deck I pulled from was a Diana Cooper deck, the Dragons. The Dragons come in energetically, and they just clear out some energy. Okay, so I figured we could use some of this in our full moon time, in our surrender phase. So I pulled the Earth and Water Dragon, which is a green and brown dragon. Also notice the waning moon. Okay, not all these cards have a moon image. So pretty cool that that same moon comes up again. And so the Earth and Water Dragon, it creates the foundation for new growth. A fresh start is coming with new opportunities. Nurture your ideas and harvest the abundance. And notice that we go from this winter phase where we are in this dormant part to this invitation of what's to come, this amazing sprouting. Notice the not super green earth, right? Like, it's still just these beginning sprouts of what's to come. And I love that it's almost like these little energy bubbles, these little bubbles of intention floating around of what's growing here. And what a perfect message to partner with these other cards to say that when we can do this, right? When we can go in and sense into where do we want to release, right? What do we want to surrender? What's not working? Then we actually can receive new opportunities. We can have a fresh start and we can nurture and like water the soil and feed the soil with the information that we come up with from doing that inner reflection so that we can choose better next time, right? So that we can grow something even bigger and more beautiful than what we had before because of the time we spent in reflection of what it is we're really looking for. So I hope this message really serves you this week. I hope it gets you off to a great start to February, knowing that we're not that far off from spring, right? We're working there, we're getting there. After February is March, and we're going to start getting into spring. So, hope you have a beautiful week, a beautiful month, a beautiful full moon, wherever you are. Get out there, lay your eyeballs on that full moon, let it take in the energy, and really breathe in that energy of surrender and release this week. And I look forward to seeing you next week and seeing what energy comes up then. Bye for now.